Cold Diaries reached the 500 subs milestone. That's why we made really different video for you. Enjoy. 14 biggest historical mysteries that will probably never be solved. The birthdate of Jesus, the identity of Jack the Ripper, and the location of Cleopatra's tomb are just a few of the historical puzzles that may never be cleared up. Sometimes that's because an archaeological site has been destroyed or the pertinent excavated material has been lost. Other times, it's because it's doubtful that fresh evidence will emerge or the existing data is insufficiently clear to allow for scholarly consensus. These mysteries are all the more intriguing for not having any answers. In this article, Live Science examines 14 of these old conundrums that might never get clear answers. Was King Arthur a real person? Over the course of more than 1,000 years, the King Arthur myth has been told and retold several times. Famous elements of the Arthurian legends include Camelot, the Knights of the Round Table, Merlin the Wizard, and the sword Excalibur. If King Arthur had actually existed, the world would have been less fantastical. The earliest reports, which date to the 9th century, describe a leader, perhaps not even a king, who engaged the Saxons in a number of conflicts. Even the veracity of these accounts is questionable. There are several locations in Britain where legends claim King Arthur lived. One of these locations is Tintagel, a coastal location, where excavations have not revealed whether or not the legend is true. In the end, it appears unlikely that researchers will ever be able to definitively determine whether King Arthur was a real person or a work of pure fiction. Who was Jack the Ripper? Jack the Ripper murdered at least 5 women in London in 1888 and dismembered their remains. Police received many letters, purportedly from the Ripper, mocking their search for the serial killer. Scholars disagree on whether any of them were genuinely written by the Ripper. These letters make up the name Jack the Ripper. Naturally, the Ripper was never located, and over the years, a large number of persons have been suggested as potential suspects. John Morris asserts that a woman named Lizzie Williams was the Ripper in his 2012 book Jack the Ripper, The Hand of a Woman. However, other Ripper authorities disagree with him. It is improbable that we will ever know for sure who Jack the Ripper really is. Where is Jimmy Hoffa? On July 30th, 1975, in Oakland County, Michigan, the Teamster Union head who was connected to organized crime vanished. He was ruled legally dead in 1982. His killer's identities and the whereabouts of his body remain a mystery. Numerous locations in Detroit and Oakland County have been looked for by police and forensic anthropologists, without success. One widely held belief was that Hoffa's body was interred in New Jersey's Giant Stadium. This hypothesis, however, has been refuted. According to the New York Times, FBI agents went to a former landfill in New Jersey on October 25th and 26th to perform a site reconnaissance. The study was conducted in response to a landfill worker's deathbed admission that he and his father had been accused of dumping Hoffa's body in a steel barrel beneath the dump in 1975. According to Live Science, the agents reportedly didn't find the steel barrel. According to The Guardian, Maura Schneider, an FBI spokesperson in Detroit, stated that nothing of evidentiary significance was located during that search. Although we do not currently foresee any further action at the site, the FBI will keep looking for any promising leads in our search for Mr. Hoffa. His killer's identity is also a mystery. According to The Guardian, hit assassin Richard the Iceman Kuklinski claimed to have slain Hoffa and placed his remains in a scrap yard before he passed away in 2006. Before Kuklinski passed away, a writer by the name of Philip Carlo paid him a visit in prison and authored a book on his confessions. It becomes less and less likely that Hoffa's remains will ever be discovered as the years pass. Several police officials questioned the confession in media interviews after the book was published. Where is Cleopatra's memorial? According to historical accounts, following their deaths in 30 BC, Cleopatra VII and her lover Mark Antony were interred side by side in a tomb. According to the historian Plutarch, the tomb was a lofty and gorgeous structure that was close to a temple dedicated to the ancient Egyptian goddess Isis and contained valuables made of gold, silver, emeralds, pearls, ebony, and ivory. The tomb's location is still unknown. Cleopatra VII's tomb was not one of the numerous intriguing archaeological finds, according to Hoffa, who published a number of news releases. Even if Cleopatra's tomb is still in existence, archaeologists have warned that it may have been badly looted and is now difficult to identify. Who killed John Kennedy? The largest enigma in American history that hasn't been fully solved is certainly this one. President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas on November 22, 1963 by Lee Harvey Oswald. Before Oswald could face justice, on November 24, 1963, Jack Ruby, the proprietor of a nightclub, shot and killed Oswald. Lung cancer claimed Ruby's life on January 3, 1967. The theory that Oswald killed JFK on his own initiative, and Ruby killed Oswald also on his own initiative, is the most frequently accepted one. To spare Jacqueline Kennedy, the discomfort of Oswald coming back to trial was Ruby's declared goal. However, a sizable portion of professional historians, as well as many amateurs, continue to disagree with this theory, and since JFK's passing, a number of competing theories have been put out by historians and non-historians alike. A firm consensus won't likely ever be achieved because it's doubtful that any important new evidence will surface. Actually, was Caesarion Caesar's son? Cleopatra VII claimed to be the mother of Caesarion, a son she gave birth to in 47 BC. In 44 BC, Cleopatra appointed Caesarion as Egypt's joint ruler. Artwork that has survived shows the mother and son in that capacity. It's unclear, though, if the infant was really Caesar's son. Caesar never claimed ownership of the child. Gaius Appius, a close friend of Caesar, even published a pamphlet questioning Caesarion's paternity. Following her and Mark Antony's defeat by Octavian in 30 BC, Cleopatra VII committed herself, and Caesarion was assassinated not long after. It is unlikely that historians will ever be able to conclusively ascertain whether Caesar was really Caesarion's father because neither Julius Caesar nor Caesarion's remains have survived. Does Oak Island have a money pit? Stories about a money pit of hidden riches that was allegedly left by the pirate captain William Kidd have been circulating for more than 200 years about Oak Island off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada. Millions of dollars have been spent over the years on several expeditions to the island in pursuit of the ill-fated treasure. On Oak Island, despite generations of hunting, no treasure has been located. However, that doesn't stop individuals from looking for it. The 9th season of The Curse of Oak Island, a reality television program on the History Channel, follows a contemporary expedition. The Copper Scroll treasure, is it real? There is an older treasure story that will probably never be solved. Archaeologists at Qumran discovered a copper scroll and other Dead Sea Scrolls in a cave in 1952. The text was carved onto a copper scroll, as its name implies. The scroll lists an enormous quantity of hidden gold and silver treasure. In fact, some academics think it is impossible for such a treasure to exist. The scroll is older than 1,900 years, having been created while the Roman Empire ruled the region around Qumran. Scientists have suggested that the treasure was concealed to avoid being captured by Roman forces during the time the scroll was written because there were several uprisings against Roman control at the time. The truth of the treasure's existence, where exactly it was hidden, whether it was ever discovered, and if it might still exist today are all unsolvable mysteries. Ark of the Covenant's destiny. A Babylonian army led by King Nebuchadnezzar II stormed Jerusalem in 587 BC, looting the city and razing the first temple, the Jewish people's temple of worship. The Ark of the Covenant, which contained tablets containing the Ten Commandments, was housed in the first temple. The Ark's future is unknown. The Ark was either brought back to Babylon or hid before the city was taken, according to ancient texts. The Ark might have also been destroyed when the city was taken over. In any case, nobody knows where the Ark is. Numerous tales and legends regarding the Ark's fate have been told since its departure. According to one legend, the Ark eventually arrived in Ethiopia, where it is now kept. According to a different legend, the Ark was divinely concealed and won't be revealed until the Messiah comes. Jesus, when was he born? Jesus was most likely not born on December 25th, despite the fact that many Christians commemorate this day as his birth. December the 25th of May have been chosen as the date because it falls just before Saturnalia, a Roman celebration honoring Saturn. Jesus' birthday was first mentioned in writing in the 4th century AD, more than 300 years after his birth. Even today, many Orthodox Christians commemorate Jesus' birthday on January 6th or 7th. According to historical sources, early Christians were never able to agree on the exact day of Jesus' birth. In the end, it is unlikely that anybody will ever be able to pinpoint exactly when Jesus was born. Even the year is uncertain, though most academics agree that it was sometime around 4 BC. Were the Babylon Hanging Gardens real? A fantastical set of gardens built at the ancient city of Babylon in present-day Iraq is described by ancient writers. Although it is unclear when these gardens were created, some ancient writers considered them to be a wonder of the world. The Hanging Gardens contain plants cultivated at a height above ground level, and the roots of the trees are embedded in an above terrace rather than in the dirt. According to Philo of Byzantium, who wrote this around 250 BC, the remains of a garden that fits this description haven't been discovered by archaeologists who have dug up Babylon to this point. Archaeologists are now forced to wonder, did the Hanging Gardens actually exist? The gardens may have actually been found at the Assyrian capital of Nineveh. According to a book by University of Oxford researcher Stephanie Daly published in 2013, it appears unlikely that this enigma will ever be fully resolved because battles and plundering have damaged both Nineveh and Babylon during the past 20 years. Do you know if Atlantis exists? The Greek philosopher Plato claimed in a work from the 4th century BC that Atlantis, a country in the Atlantic Ocean, once ruled most of what is now Europe and Africa. In the tale, Atlantis is retaliated against by the prehistoric Athenians, and the battle results in Atlantis' submergence. While no reputable academic considers this tale to be literally genuine, others have theorized that the mythology may have been partially influenced by actual occurrences in Greek history. The story of Atlantis may have been influenced by the Minoan civilization, as it is now known, which lasted on the island of Crete until roughly 1400 BC. Thura, a volcano in Greece, erupted, severely damaging Minoan towns. Despite the fact that Crete is in the Mediterranean, not the Atlantic, archaeologists also discovered that the Mycenaeans, a tribe situated in mainland Greece, eventually defeated the Minoans or compelled them to join them. It's unlikely that this argument will ever be resolved in its entirety. What was Jesus like in reality? Nearly 100 years after Jesus' life, in the 2nd century, the earliest Gospels still in existence. The absence of 1st century literature about Jesus raises several issues for biblical scholars. The Gospels were written when? What percentage of the stories were true? How did Jesus actually appear? More information about Jesus' upbringing is revealed through archaeological digs in Nazareth, his hometown. More recently, archaeologists unearthed a first-century home that was revered as the home of Jesus as a child decades after Jesus' lifetime. Whether this home was in fact Jesus' home is unknown. It's unlikely that researchers will ever fully understand what Jesus was truly like, despite the fact that fresh study will shed additional light. However, a researcher created a picture of what Jesus would have looked like in 2018 using information from ancient texts and archaeological finds that characterize Jesus' contemporaries in Judea and Egypt. The scholar concluded that Jesus most likely had olive brown skin, brown eyes, and black hair by drawing inspiration from images on ancient coins and Egyptian mummy paintings. Based on male skeletal remains from that time period, it is most likely that Jesus was about 1.7 meters tall, which was average for his gender. The Holy Grail, where is it? The cup that Jesus drank from at his Last Supper with his disciples before his crucifixion has never been located, and most likely never will be. It is known as the Holy Grail. In actuality, there wasn't much interest in it until the Middle Ages, when the authors of several King Arthur tales claimed that King Arthur and his knights were on a mission to find the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail continues to be popular in fiction, being employed as a plot device in movies like the 1989 film Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, where it was used to heal Indiana Jones after he was shot by the Nazis. However, there are no real scholarly endeavors to uncover the Holy Grail. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the notification bell to subscribe and leave a comment below. Thank you. See you in the next video.